Was in Nigeria and around the world to AM News, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anieti Patrick. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channels 276. Now the news. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has begun an indefinite strike after the expiration of its 30-day ultimatum to the federal government, crippling activities in hospitals across the country. The association's president, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, said the action followed the government's repeated failure to honor agreements on unpaid arrears, poor working conditions, and inadequate staffing. He warned that unless urgent reforms were made, more doctors will continue to leave the country, further endangering the health sector. Meanwhile, the federal government has released 11.9 billion naira to settle outstanding arrears and welfare allowances for doctors and other health workers, with an additional 21.3 billion naira already disbursed through the IPPIS system. The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, said the intervention follows President Bola Tinubu's approval to ease tensions in the sector and curb brain drain through massive recruitment across federal hospitals. Negotiations are also ongoing with key health unions, even as resident doctors have begun an indefinite nationwide strike over unresolved demand. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has suspended 4 top officials, including National Legal Advisor Kamaluddin Ajibade and National Secretary Samuel Anyanwu, for 1 month. The decision followed Friday's Federal High Court judgment halting the party's planned national convention over alleged constitutional breaches. Party spokesman Debo Olugun Nagba said the suspension was agreed upon during an emergency National Working Committee meeting in Abuja as part of effort to maintain internal order and discipline. Meanwhile, the leadership crisis within the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has deepened as Senator Samuel Anyanwu-led National Working Committee announced the suspension of the party's national chairman Umar Damagu and other top officials. Anyanwu accused Damagu of incompetence, misappropriation of party funds, and pursuing personal interests, adding that the affected officers, including the National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologun Nagba and Deputy National Chairman South Taofeek Arakbaja, will face the party's disciplinary committee. The counter suspension follows an earlier announcement by Ologun Nagba that Anyanwu and several other executives had been suspended by the Damagu-led National Working Committee, deepening internal divisions within the main opposition party ahead of its planned national convention. Vice Presidents Kashim Shettima and the All Progressives Congress (APC) governors are expected in Yenagoa on Monday to officially welcome Bayelsa Governor Diri into the ruling party after his resignation from the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The move makes Diri the 4th PDP governor to defect to the APC in recent months, joining those of Delta, Akwa Ibom, and Enugu states. However, some APC leaders in Bayelsa have voiced concerns over the defection, warning against disrupting existing party structures. In preparation for the forthcoming governorship elections in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke has appeared before the People's Democratic Party Screening Committee. The exercise is part of the party's internal process to ensure all aspirants meet the required standards before the primaries. Here's Ubon Usoro with the details.
Governor Adeleke arrived at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja to undergo the mandatory screening process, accompanied by some members of his cabinet and supporters. The governor expressed confidence in the screening committee and commended the party's leadership for ensuring transparency. The screening, according to the PDP National Working Committee, is aimed at strengthening internal democracy and ensuring that only credible candidates emerge ahead of governorship election. Governor Adeleke, who is seeking re-election, pledged to continue his administration's development agenda and consolidate on the gains made in education, infrastructure, and workers' welfare in Osun State.
And now we have become government within 2 years of president. What we have achieved in less than 2 years.
With the screening exercise being concluded, all eyes are now on the PDP primary as Governor Adeleke prepares to test his popularity within the party once again. Party officials assured that the process would be fair, transparent, and in line with the PDP's constitution. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global Television.
The federal government has rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to label Nigeria a country of particular concern over alleged persecution of Christians. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the claims of religious genocide are misleading and do not reflect Nigeria's realities, emphasizing that citizens of all faiths coexist peacefully. Spokesperson of the ministry, Kimingbi Ebenifa, added that Nigeria will continue to engage the U.S. diplomatically to deepen understanding of its effort towards peaceful and national unity. The senior special advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on community engagement, North Central, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, says Nigeria can achieve lasting peace and prosperity through unity and strengthen social cohesion among diverse groups. She stated this at a community workshop and inauguration of community-based peace structures in Benue State. Our Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndere tells us more.
The workshop, organized by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, in collaboration with the International Communities Organization and the North Central Development Commission, brought together key stakeholders to deepen peace efforts across Benue State.
To take the center stage of shaping our community's peace structure, you have been carefully selected, brought together in collaboration with the federal government in addressing the prevailing criminal activities in our communities.
Dr. Abiodun Esiet at the event explained that the structures will also serve as grassroots information channels, ensuring communities remain connected to the federal government programs and national development policies.
The federal government is just putting a structure for sustainability, showing that Mr. President is concerned about sustaining peace in Benue State and is also ready to support the state government in making sure that there is a lasting peace in Benue State. But first, understanding the concerns. So we are here, people have shared concerns and they will be given opportunity to share concerns, and we'll work with them to see how we address those concerns in partnership with other stakeholders that are here.
Participants, including traditional rulers, women groups, and religious leaders, pledged to work together to advance peace and development.
Why is it that people are still being killed and we come to sit down and talk about peace and everybody claps? People are still dying. People can't go to their farms. Women can't go to the stream. Why are results not coming? You hear about MACBAN, you hear about Noyetiala, you hear about JNI. JNI is a religious organization, I suppose. They are the brothers and sisters of these herdsmen who come from the bush to kill us.
Our president, our father, our husband, that the governor of Benue State is trying very well to ensure that there should be peace. But because of what is happening outside, by these people that are coming there, we don't know where they are coming. They are from the bush. I'm from West, very prone to it. The road is not passable at all.
I want to thank you and also assure you that we will participate fully and also ensure that we support all the processes that are going to be laid down here today.
Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by his deputy Sam Odi, commended the initiative, noting that it aligns with the administration's commitment to peace and stability.
I want to say
that the issues of insecurity, we are working on them as a state. We are doing so consciously in collaboration with the federal government. There are platforms that have been created to address most of these issues.
With the new peace structures across the 23 local governments of the state, stakeholders aim to strengthen collaboration, address conflicts, and promote peaceful coexistence for a safer and more united.
Thank you, Felicity, for that. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has identified over 2,000 illegal admissions across 17 tertiary institutions for the 2024-2025 academic session, warning of sanctions against offenders. JAMB said the affected universities, polytechnics, and colleges violated 8 central admissions processing system, rendering the admissions null and void. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa cautioned that any institution found guilty of illegal admissions would face severe penalties, including asset withdrawal and disciplinary action. The Nigerian Army says it has rescued 17 kidnapped victims, arrested 20 suspects, and neutralized 2 terrorists in intensified nationwide operations within 48 hours. The operations spanning the northeast, northwest, north central, and south regions also saw the dismantling of 2 illegal oil refinery camps and the recovery of over 3,000 liters of stolen crude. The army confirmed that 3 terrorists surrendered in Borno State, citing disillusionment with their leaders and worsening living conditions. Once considered a symbol of modesty, clothing today has become a flashpoint between tradition and modernity. Across communities, the debate over indecent dressing continues to stir conversations about morality, identity, and cultural values. Sadia Yakubu has the details on this.
Commonly defined as the act of wearing clothes that reveals parts of the body which traditionally expected to be covered in public. Though definitions vary by culture, religion, and personal values, it is generally viewed as dressing in a way that contradicts accepted standards of modesty. Fashion is a form of self-expression, but when personal freedom clashes with cultural values, that's where the debate begins. What is considered decent in one society might be seen as inappropriate in another. The concern arises when certain forms of dress are seen to encourage moral decline or disrespect for societal norms.
Indecent dressing is improper dressing, of which that is common to ladies these days. Also men as well, but it is too common in the life of ladies.
Schools, religious institutions, and workplaces are often the first to enforce dress codes. Many argue that these codes help maintain disciplines, order, and respect, but critics say they can be oppressive or outdated, especially when disproportionately targeting women or youth.
On a larger scale, when you dress to reveal parts of your body that are supposed to be covered, whether male or female, is indecent.
For some, indecent dressing is linked to rising cases of harassment, distraction in educational institutions, and even more decay. Others argue that focusing too much on clothing shifts attention away from much more pressing social issues such as education, poverty, and gender-based violence.
In Islam, decent dressed is well established. In fact, the second revelation after the first one that talk on knowledge, the second revelation talk about decent dress, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. Your clothes, make sure you purify it. you dress decently.
Our faith teaches modesty as a virtue, not to shame individuals, but to promote respect for the body as sacred. We believe society must educate, not condemn. True decency starts from the heart and reflects outwardly.
As society evolves, so does the definition of decency. Finding balance between the freedom of expression and respect for cultural values remains a challenge. True change may begin not with what we wear, but with how we choose to see and respect one another. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
Watching the live broadcast of AM News on Global TV. When AM News returns, we'll bring you stories in business, sports, and on the foreign scene. On the other side of this break, please stay with us. Welcome back to AM News. In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria sold only 1.1 billion naira worth of open market operations bills out of 600 billion naira offered, as investors rejected the high yield of 21.69%. The poor turnout suggests market resistance to the Apex Bank's pricing strategy with weak demand across both 46-day and 60-day maturities. Analysts say the low participation reflects tight liquidity and growing caution among investors amid rising interest rate volatility. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has assured Nigerians of an uninterrupted supply of petrol and diesel despite new tariffs on fuel imports. Group Chief Branding Officer Anthony Chijina said the refinery's high production capacity guarantees national energy stability and consumer confidence. Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigerian President Abakar Megandi added that the new imports levy will discourage importation and boost local refining, strengthening the naira and protecting Nigerians from substandard products. The National Assembly has passed for second reading a bill to amend the 1999 Constitution and address multiple taxation across all tiers of government. The bill, championed by the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, seeks to clarify taxation powers, eliminate overlapping taxes, and outlaw illegal revenue collection. Chairman Taiwo Oyedele said the reform, part of 4 new tax laws signed by President Bola Tinubu, will take full effect from January 2026 to enhance fiscal transparency and discipline. And on the foreign scene, Tanzania President Samia Suluhu Hassan has won a landslide re-election with 96.6% of the votes after key opponents were jailed or barred from contesting. The announcement comes after days of violent protests, a nationwide curfew, and internet blockouts, with opposition Party for Democracy and Progress claiming hundreds were killed in clashes with security forces. The United Nations and international observers have expressed concern over the violence, censorship, and reports of human rights abuses during the polls. The United Kingdom has announced £5 million in new humanitarian funding for Sudan, following what officials described as truly horrifying reports of atrocities committed by the Rapid Support Forces during the capture of El Fasher. British Foreign Minister Vet Cooper, speaking at a conference in Birmingham, said the funds, which include £2 million to support survivors of sexual violence, form part of a wider £120 million commitment the UK has pledged to Sudan over the past year. The RFS seizure of El Fasher last Sunday ended an 18-month siege of the Sudanese army's final stronghold in Darfur, a period marked by starvation, bombardments, and mass killings. Cooper condemned the atrocities, including rape and executions, and called on all parties to end hostilities and allow humanitarian access. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the defense of Pokrovsk is a top priority as elite Ukrainian special forces join the battle to repel Russian advances on the eastern front. Kyiv insists its troops are holding their ground despite Moscow's claims of encirclement, as Pokrovsk fail could open the way for Russia to seize the rest of Donbass. The town's defense is seen as critical both militarily and politically amid growing Western pressure for progress towards a ceasefire proposal backed by U.S. President Donald Trump. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that the draw for CAF Champions League group stage will hold on Monday at SuperSport Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Rivers United, who qualified with a 3-2 aggregate, will win over Mozambique's Black Bulls, will make their first ever appearance in the group stage of the competition. Coach Finidi George says his side is confident of making an impression against Africa's elite clubs in the coming campaign. Rivers United hosts league leaders Nasarawa United in a top-billing Nigerian Premier Football League match day 11 clash in Port Harcourt as both sides chase vital points in contrasting battles for form and supremacy. Niger Tornadoes also face Abia Warriors in Minna, while Bendel Insurance, Shooting Stars, and Warri Wolves headline key regional derbies across the country. With Eyimba and Kano Pillars struggling for consistency, attention shifts to the likes of Rivers United, Remo Stars, and Warri Wolves in a fast-evolving title race. French Football League Patrick Vieira has resigned as head coach of Serie A side Genoa following a disastrous start to the new season. The club confirmed his departure in a statement announcing that assistant coach Roberto Morgita and former captain Domenico Crististo will take over on an interim basis. Genoa sits bottom of the Serie A table with just 3 points from 9 matches and no wins. Their worst ever start to a top-flight campaign. Tensions peaked after a 2-0 home defeat to Cremonese on Wednesday, sparking protests from fans and intense speculation about Vieira's future. Although the club initially sacked sporting director Marco Ottilini and planned to retain Vieira, reports say the former Arsenal captain chose to step down. Vieira, who took charge in November 2024, helped Genoa avoid relegation last season. His exit marks the second managerial change of the current Serie A campaign, following Juventus' dismissal of Igor Tondo. And as Global AM News comes to a close, that's it on this particular bulletin. We'll bring you other stories in our lineup of programming for the thank you for being a part of this news at this hour. I am Anita Patrick. Thank you for watching.